Hello everyone, if you're here, it means you like Dr. Myles Munroe. Our job here is to share simple messages from him with the world. What do you do in the midst of a storm? How do you handle a crisis when it shows up? Before we continue, please click the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. This will help you stay notified each time we upload a new video. Now let's dive deep into the message. Dr. Myles Munroe defines crisis as an event over which you have no control, and says, as a good manager you should be able to cope with crises. He outlines 6 facts to note when dealing with crisis. He states that the first way to minimize a crisis is to anticipate it. He says the following: Kingdom citizens are not immune to crisis. That's important to remember because the fact that you are living in God's kingdom doesn't isolate you from unexpected, uncontrollable events. Number 2. The storm will hit everyone when it hits. You know, hurricanes don't go around believers' houses and hit other people's houses. Jesus made it very clear when he talks about those who build their house on his word. He says, the storms rose and the winds blew, and they hit both houses. So crises affect everybody. But he did talk about the response of the 2 houses to the crisis. One of them crashes and the other one stands firm because of the foundation. Myles Munroe says the third thing to know about crisis is that your survival during that moment will depend on your foundation knowledge. He quotes Matthew 7:24, which says, Therefore everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock, and when the storms blow and the waves come and the water rises, that house stands firm. So, it is not the storm that is the problem. It is the foundation. If it is not the right foundation, then you will have a problem. So crises are not problems. They're going to come. The problem is, what do you have to do to handle the crisis? He outlines management as the 4th point. The key to that knowledge is management. He says, God gave man management as the key to prosperity in the middle of poverty. Stop thinking like religious people and start thinking like kingdom people. Religious people look for miracles. They want God to take care of them without their effort. They get lazy. They want a magic supply. They want an immediate response from God, and if God delays, then they stop believing in Him. Myles Munroe further states that the religious spirit is a dangerous spirit and it's very pervasive, and that being a kingdom manager is the key to prosperity in the middle of poverty. Number 3, management is the key to promotion in crisis. Do you know that people get promoted during a crisis? Some folks getting laid off, yet others getting a promotion. Some people even get more money in times of crisis, because they're going to take the jobs of lazy people. They're going to get more money because those who are good managers will be promoted. Myles Munroe says, God doesn't promote you because you pray, and that reading the word doesn't bring you a promotion. He says promotion is simply the result of good management. Number 4, management is the key to power in crisis. If you want to be the person with a controlling position in the midst of chaos, you must be the one who has been a good manager. He says that if you've not been a good manager, you are likely to be laid off when your company is cutting down on workers. He goes further to share his life story. He says the following: As a teenager, I was reading the Bible one day and I saw this young wealthy guy walk up to Jesus. And he said, Jesus, good master, I know you are a man sent from God, and before he could make the other statement, Jesus stopped him. Why do you call me good? If someone called you good, you should be nice and happy, but that was not the case here. Christ stopped him. Why do you call me good? No man knows what good is. Only God. I was a teenager when I got that key. Therefore, from that day forward, my definition of good was cancelled because I don't know what good is. Only God knows. What you think is good may not be good. And what you think is bad may be good. Genesis chapter 41 tells the story of a young man called Joseph. Joseph was 17 years old when he began to make an impact. Genesis 41 verse 42 says, Out of the river there came up 7 cows, sleek and fat, and they grazed among the reeds. Through Joseph, God revealed to Pharaoh what he was about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads of grain are 7 years. Dr. Myles Munroe says God allows crisis to test our management abilities. He goes further to say when there is crisis, we shouldn't bother praying about it because God decides the crisis. He says the following: Think about the story of Joseph. Joseph was barely known, so God created an opportunity for him to get promoted. He needed a crisis so he could show his manageability. In the book of Genesis chapter 41 verse 33, Joseph said, Let Pharaoh look for a wise man and put him in charge of the land of Egypt. Joseph's advice showed managerial abilities. Joseph gave Pharaoh the advice which helped Egypt mitigate the crisis. Let Pharaoh appoint commissioners over the land to take 1/5 of the harvest of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance. They should collect all the food of these good years and store up the grain under the authority of Pharaoh to be kept in the cities for food. This food should be held in reserve for the country to be used during the 7 years of famine that will come upon Egypt, so that the country may not be ruined by the crisis. That was good management. We hope you enjoyed the message and learned some lessons. Please do not forget to subscribe.